shades of blue passed her delicate nose. Each she liked to examine closely, eyeing the weight and purity that fell from the colours, like tiny oceans huddled in each well. As they passed her by, she liked to imagine how each might mix or sit upon a canvas to bring life to a pond or stream, the folds of a dress cascading across a field of dry grass. These works of hers sat in piles and corners, and were stacked neatly across the thin window sills of her cluttered cell, so that what little light there was filtered through shreds of canvas, and thus fell upon the room with a hazy glow. A brighter light was not required for her true task. She only had need of a single navy pigment which had already been marked to make it unmistakable. Frowning, and drawing her eyes away from the neatly stacked rows of colours above her desk, she turned her gaze to the crates which sat by the door. They were left each day with the shields that required her attention. She was presently surprised that she opened the nearest to discover only 3 were hidden inside. Moving easily into the well-practiced motion of her craft, she drew them onto her work surface and began her perfect process of covering each in a thick layer of navy paint. It lay proud in its uniformity, each drying suitably even. Next, taking up a charcoal, she carefully outlined the 3 stars which saved the sigil from an utter blandness. So well cared for was her talent that each shape was made with a remarkable precision. A twinkle glistened across her stormy eyes as she admired her work, picturing each held brightly atop a wall. She carefully drew her garb from her left shoulder and felt the deep gnarled scar which stretched from her breast. With her same precision, she drew a tiny blade from a drawer and opened the wound from its centre. She had learnt to no longer feel the pain. With the blade's end, she scooped the blood that poured from her, and carefully dropped it into a little pot, and watched as the red turned darker, its depth and brilliance something no pigment could echo. As she filled each of the 9 little stars, a warmth spread through her at the thought of the extra protection her life would provide. None would face an enemy without her by their side. Upon opening the next crate, she was greeted by a stranger. It was round for a start, marking it from the long kite she normally dealt with, and opposed to the simple structure of her shields, what remained of the imagery was astounding. Upon the shield's face lay the wreckage of a tree sat beside a flowing river. Within its waves shook a curious silver fish, of what kind she couldn't recognize. It seemed a rare thing. She wondered who it might belong to. Hours whiled away as she worked against its beauty, allowing the soft glow of the summer moon to replace the fading sunlight before she came to a close. The scene she left was one of her finest, elevating the forms of the original image and marred only by its presence upon such a crude frame. As she glanced across her work, her heart fell. No red adorned the shield's surface. She remained apart from it. With a frightening determination, she recut the wound at her shoulder, eyes streaming now at the pain that came as the fresh scabbing was ripped from her breast. A grin still emerged from her tear-stricken face, however, as she dabbed the brush straight to her softly beating chest. She left only the faintest of marks, a distant impression that would accompany this faceless warrior. She fell back into rhythm as she brushed a thick coat of varnish across the curving surface, slowing to a careful stroke, only where a single shining fruit now hung from the tree's rustling branches. It was done. She packed it in with the others, and nailing the crates shut, she left them in her conjurer's closet, stealing away through the echoing hallway.